Ready to unlock your inner badass?
Let's do it.
We're diving deep into Jen Sincero's You Are a Badass.
Oh, I love this book.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's like self-help, but with a sense of humor.
Right. No sugarcoating, just straight talk.
And that's what we like. But
Yeah.
more importantly, we're diving into this stuff you can actually use.
Yeah.
Actionable steps.
Exactly. And I think what's so refreshing about Sincero's approach is that she really cuts through kind of the BS of self-help platitudes.
Yes.
And she gets to the heart of this almost universal experience we all have, which is we're capable of so much more than we give ourselves credit for. But then there's this disconnect.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It's like one foot on the gas, the other one's like slamming on the brake.
Yeah, it's self-sabotage.
Yeah.
And Sincero talks about that.
She shines a light on all those moments we've
Yeah.
all had.
Yeah.
You know, reaching for that fourth donut, even though we know it's not on the diet plan.
Or staying in that relationship that's, like, not good for us.
Oh, yeah.
But it's comfortable, it's familiar.
It's like, why do we do that to ourselves?
That's where this whole concept of the subconscious blueprint comes in.
Okay, let's unpack that.
Imagine, like, your subconscious mind
Yeah.
as this computer program that's running in the background.
Yeah.
And it's filled with all these beliefs that you picked up way back when.
In childhood.
Childhood, exactly.
So those messages, even if they weren't said directly to us, we kind of absorbed them.
Yes. Like, don't be too loud.
Money doesn't grow on trees.
I mean, it doesn't grow on trees.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all these become our default settings. And the thing is, they often come from a place of love. Like parents passing down their own limiting beliefs because that's what they were taught. It's a cycle.
It is a cycle.
But we don't have to perpetuate it.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But if it's subconscious, like how do we even know what's on there?
That's the tricky part.
Yeah.
Because it's subconscious, right? So it's not like you can just like open up your subconscious and be like, oh, they're all my beliefs, neatly organized.
Here's the list.
Bullet pointed. It doesn't quite work that way. But Sincero says the key is to pay attention to the patterns in your life, especially the negative ones that keep repeating.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. So is it kind of like if you feel like you're hitting the same roadblocks over and over?
Yes.
Or making like the same relationship mistakes?
Yeah. Like, are you constantly attracting the same kind of person into your life? Or are you always struggling with the same issue at work?
Okay, I can already think of some red flags in my own life.
Right.
It's so easy to see it in other people too. Like that friend who always falls for the emotionally unavailable type.
Yes.
That's their subconscious playing out some old script about love and heartbreak, maybe.
Possibly. It's definitely something to look at.
So then, how do we start figuring out what's going on in our own subconscious?
Sincero would say, ask yourself, where am I doing this in my own life? What are those recurring patterns, those things you keep doing even though you know they're not serving you?
Okay, so self-awareness is like step one.
So self-awareness is huge.
So we've like identified these patterns, right?
Right.
Now, how do we actually break free? Because it's like our subconscious, it's got this strong hold on us.
It's like a habit.
Yeah, a habit.
We've been feeding it for years.
Years.
This is where Sincero is all about embracing your inner badass,
Okay, well,
which is like the truest, most powerful version of you.
yes.
It's that part of you that knows you're capable of amazing things, even if it's like buried under years of self-doubt and all that.
Totally.
And yeah, it can feel like an uphill battle at first. She actually compares it to like quitting smoking.
Right.
You know how you get those cravings,
Oh, yeah.
those initial like, oh, I just need a puff.
Yeah, you want to go back to what's comfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even if we know it's not good for us.
Right.
Our subconscious, it likes routine.
It does.
It wants to keep us safe, right?
It thinks it's protecting us.
It thinks it's protecting us, exactly. But here's the thing that Sincero says.
Okay.
When things get tough,
Yeah.
when you feel that resistance, it might actually mean you're on the right track.
So like, if everything seems to be going wrong,
Maybe. Yeah.
the relationship's a mess, work is stressful, I don't know, I spilled coffee on myself this morning.
Yeah.
Is that a sign that maybe things are actually changing in a good way?
It could be a sign that you're shaking things up.
Okay.
You're disrupting that old pattern. Sincero calls that resistance the big snooze.
The big snooze.
It's basically your ego trying to keep things the same.
Keep us small.
Keep you small, keep you playing it safe because it feels familiar.
Right.
But your inner badass. Your inner badass thrives on growth.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm pushing boundaries.
So it's like this inner tug of war we've got going on.
All the time.
One side wants to stay comfortable.
Yep.
The other side is like, let's evolve.
Yeah.
even if it means some growing pains.
Exactly. And that's where the power of the present moment comes in.
Okay.
Sincero talks a lot about how we waste so much energy dwelling on the past.
Oh, yeah, the woulda, coulda, shouldas.
Or worrying about the future.
All the what ifs.
Yes, all the what ifs. And we totally miss out on the potential right now.
It's true. It's so easy to get stuck in our heads.
Right. Replaying conversations.
Yes.
Stressing about things you have absolutely no control over.
It's like, why even bother?
And she has this hilarious story about being in a yoga class.
Okay.
And, you're supposed to be finding your zen.
Yeah. Finding your center.
Right. But her mind is going a million miles an hour.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Worrying about bills, comparing herself to everyone in the class.
Yeah. Who's more flexible?
Exactly.
Who's wearing the cutest yoga pants?
Totally. And she's like, I'm totally missing the point here.
Missing a whole point. Yeah.
And it's like that for so many of us. We're physically present, but mentally we're checked out.
Oh, 100%. Like when you're out to dinner with friends,
Yeah.
but you're like glued to your phone,
Yes.
scrolling through social media, instead of actually like being present in the conversation.
It's like we're missing the moment because we're so busy trying to like document it for later.
Exactly. And Sincero says we can actually learn a lot from animals and kids.
Oh, yeah.
They're just naturally present.
Well, yeah.
Like you've never seen a dog chasing a squirrel and been like, oh, he's totally overthinking it.
Yeah.
They're not worried about yesterday's squirrel or tomorrow's squirrel.
Right.
They're just fully in it.
You're present.
Present.
Right.
Living in the moment.
Yes. It's like that pure joy that you see in kids when they're playing.
Yes.
They're not self-conscious about it. They're just completely immersed in the experience.
It's true.
So how do we tap into that?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
How do we get that presence, that aliveness back?
Sincero talks about it like electricity.
Okay.
Like the energy is already there.
It's there.
We just have to kind of tune into it.
Okay. How do we tune in?
One way is mindfulness.
Okay.
Being present in your body, in your surroundings. It doesn't have to be this big, complicated thing.
You don't have to be a Zen master.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to go live in a cave.
Right. But just incorporating little moments of awareness throughout your day.
Okay, give me an example.
So instead of rushing through your morning coffee while you're like scrolling through emails, maybe just take a moment to actually taste it.
Okay, like actually experience the coffee.
Yeah. Or even just taking a few conscious breaths before a meeting.
Just to kind of like reset.
Exactly. Just to reset, to come back to center. And the more we do these little things, the more natural it becomes.
It becomes a habit.
It does, like we were talking about before. But this time, it's a good habit. You're building that mental muscle.
That makes so much sense. Okay, so we're being mindful, we're present, but what about all those limiting stories we tell ourselves?
Oh, yeah.
The I'm not good enough, or the I'll never be able to afford that.
All those negative thoughts.
They just creep in. It's like they're on a loop in there.
On a constant loop.
And they like really get in the way of us stepping into, that inner badass.
That's what Sincero says. She's like, we got to identify and then rewrite those self-sabotaging stories.
Yeah.
And the thing is, she's like, we all have them.
Everyone's got them.
Everyone, yeah. Even she does. Like, she talks about how she used to struggle to accept compliments.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that about her.
Right, because she's, like, so confident. Right.
Exactly.
But it came from this deeper belief that she wasn't worthy of praise.
Oh, wow. I think we've all been there, though.
Yeah.
Like brushing off a compliment or downplaying our achievements.
Right.
Like, we don't want to seem arrogant.
Right, like, oh, this old thing.
Yeah, exactly. Or like we're bragging or something.
Yeah. But here's the thing, and Sincero points this out, those stories often have, like, a hidden payoff.
Oh.
Like, they might be protecting us in some weird way, even if it's keeping us stuck,
Okay.
So, like, believing you're bad with money, that could be an excuse to avoid the risk of starting a business.
Oh, interesting.
Or asking for a raise.
Ooh, yeah.
Right.
Because then you don't have to face, like, the fear of rejection or failure.
Exactly. It's like that saying, better safe than sorry, but taken to, like, a whole new level.
To the extreme. But
Yeah.
like you said, it keeps us from really going after what we want.
Totally.
So how do we change it?
Well, Sincero says the first step is to get really honest with ourselves. Ask yourself, what am I getting from this story?
Okay.
Even if it's holding me back.
So we're getting real with ourselves.
Yeah.
We see the story.
You see the payoff.
We see how we're, like, weirdly benefiting from it.
Yeah. And then we can start to let go.
Okay, so then what? How do we actually rewrite those old narratives?
This is where the power of decision comes in.
Okay.
Sincero tells this great story about Henry Ford
Okay.
and his determination to build the V8 engine.
The V8 engine.
Yeah. And everyone, all the experts, they told him it was impossible.
Oh, no.
Right. But he didn't let those doubts stop him.
He had a vision.
He had a vision. He made a decision.
Yeah.
And he did it.
So it's not just like wishing things were different. It's like deciding to change the story.
Exactly.
And then like backing it up with action.
100%.
I love that. Cynthia also uses that example of like being torn between buying like a sensible car or splurging on the like really luxurious one.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And she was like scared to go for the luxurious car.
Of course. It's a big decision.
It's a big decision. But she knew that like deep down, it represented the life that she wanted.
The life she wanted to create.
One with more abundance, more joy. And so she just decided. She went for it.
She made the decision.
And it totally shifted her perspective.
Right. Because it's not just about the car, is it?
It's not about the car.
It's about what it represents.
It's about like believing in yourself, believing that you're worthy of that.
Exactly.
And that sometimes those scary decisions, those are the ones that like really move us forward in the biggest way.
It's so true. You just got to go for it.
Go for it. So basically what I'm hearing Sincero say is that we create our own reality.
We do, with our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions.
So if we want to be a badass,
Yeah.
we have to start acting like it.
Fake it till you make it.
Kinda, even if the belief hasn't quite caught up yet.
It's like putting on your badass pants one leg at a time.
Yes. You might feel a little silly at first,
You might.
but eventually you start owning it.
You start rocking those pants.
And the more you own it, the more those old stories, they lose their power.
They fade away.
And you start proving them wrong.
With your actions, not your words, but your actions.
I love it. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I have one question for everyone listening. What if, starting today, you decided to truly embrace your inner badass? What choices would you make? What actions would you take? What story are you ready to rewrite?
Ooh, good one.
It's all within your reach. And if you want to dive even deeper into all the amazing advice Sincero has to offer, definitely check out You Are a Badass. It's a game changer.
It really is.
All right, until next time, go out there and be your badass selves.